Welcome back on Spillover. Chicago is on fire right now, not from violence on the streets, but from a storm of silence, tension, and betrayal that has fans, OGs, and industry insiders all pointing fingers. Because for the first time in nearly a decade, Chief Keef, the face of drill, the man who put Chicago on the map, was set to return to his hometown for a massive show, until everything came crashing down. At the last minute, Chief Keef canceled the entire event, and now the streets are talking. And they're not just whispering, they're screaming. Why? Because word on the block is that O'Block OGs stepped in and made it clear Sosa wasn't welcome. And it wasn't just about rap. This runs deeper than music, deeper than clout, deeper than internet beef. We're talking about old wounds, real street politics, and a betrayal that dates back to the days when Sosa was first blowing up. Now, the same people who once backed him are the ones allegedly pushing him out of the city he made famous. So what really happened behind the scenes? What was the final straw? And is this the beginning of a full-on war between Chief Keef and O'Block? Stay locked in, because this story is way deeper than a cancelled show. Let's take it back, way back, to where all this really started. Before the fame, before the plaques, before Love Sosa broke the internet. When Keith Cozart, aka Chief Keef, was just another wild kid from the South Side trying to make sense of life in O'Block. O'Block raised him. That's facts. His earliest music was born from the pain, chaos, and daily survival that defines that part of Chicago. The same hallways he walked as a teen, ducking bullets and beatdowns, became the stuff of legend in his bars. But here's the twist nobody ever talks about. As fast as Chief Keef rose to fame, that same fast, he distanced himself from O'Block. And that's where the real story begins. See, while fans were celebrating Sosa's success, a quiet storm was brewing back home. OGs from the block, the same ones who protected him, looked out for him, and in some cases even funded early studio sessions, started feeling abandoned. Left in the dust. Forgotten. He left the city and never looked back, said one anonymous OG, who grew up just 2 doors down from Keef's childhood apartment. We put in work for Shorty. We held him down when no one else would. Then he blew up, moved to LA, and acted like he ain't no nobody. And while most fans chalked that up to safety or business moves, behind the scenes, there were phone calls being ignored, messages left on read, street politics that Sosa no longer responded to. And over the years, that silence turned into tension, and tension turned into resentment. Fast forward to 2026. Out of nowhere, Chief Keef announces a homecoming show in Chicago. First time in nearly 10 years. The city explodes. Tickets sell out in minutes. Fans cry. Local blogs call it historic. A full circle moment. But behind the scenes, not everyone was clapping. Because OGs from O'Block were never consulted. Not shown love. Not invited. Not even acknowledged. He could have reached out, one said. He could have sat down with the old heads, broke bread, made peace. But he just moved like it was sweet. Like he could just slide back into the city and everything was good. But it's not. And then, the threats started. Not on social media. Not through public posts. But in private, through back channels, street whispers, and coded messages. People close to the situation say that Sosa's team got wind of serious threats being made against him if he came back without clearing the air. And these weren't just casual warnings, they were specific. One alleged message read, "Tell Buddy to stay in Calabasas. It's not 2012 no more. The block don't rock with him like that." At first, Sosa brushed it off. His inner circle said he was ready to perform regardless, and he believed that his name still rang bells in the city. He thought he was untouchable, said a close friend. He was like, man, they love me out there. But love and respect ain't the same thing. He had love from the fans, but respect from the streets? That was gone. In the days leading up to the show, the tension reached a boiling point. Flyers started disappearing off poles. Certain venues refused to host after receiving anonymous calls. A few members of Sosa's former circle were reportedly seen in heated conversations on 64th and King Drive, conversations that ended in slammed car doors and cold stares. That's when it happened. Chief Keef's team pulled the plug. No official statement at first. Just a quiet removal of the event from Ticketmaster. No refunds processed. No rescheduled date. Fans were confused. Blogs started speculating. But then came the leak that changed everything. A screenshot, allegedly from an internal message sent by a concert promoter, hit Twitter. It read, "Due to credible threats made toward the artist and his team, we are canceling the Chicago appearance indefinitely. Security risks too high. Situation tied to unresolved tensions in the South Side." And just like that, the internet exploded. Chief Keef scared to come home. O'Block banned him. He turned his back on the city, and now it's turning on him. Fans were shocked. Emotions ran high. Some defended him, saying he had every right to stay away from danger. Others clowned him, saying the drill pioneer had gone soft and couldn't face his own past. But the people who were really hurt? The ones from O'Block who still felt abandoned. "I ain't saying I wanted to see nothing happen to him," one OG said in a phone call leaked to a blog. "But don't think you can make millions off the block, dip to the hills, and come back acting like royalty without checking in. This ain't Hollywood. This Chicago." And remember, we're not talking about random clout chasers. We're talking about real deal OGs, dudes who aren't looking for fame, but who feel deeply disrespected by how the entire situation has been handled. But here's where the story takes a wild turn. Because just a few days after the show's cancellation, a former member of Glory Boys Entertainment, GB, went live on Instagram and blew the lid off everything. "I've been quiet for too long," he said. "But I'ma keep it real. Sosa knew he couldn't go back. He been knew. That's why he been ducking them calls for years." He continued, "Y'all think this about music? Nah. This about street S***T. Back in the day, there was a situation. Some money went missing, some loyalty got tested. And let's just say, Sosa ain't passed the test." Fans in the comments went crazy. What happened? Who was involved? But before he could say more, the live cut off. Within an hour, that IG account was deactivated. People started speculating. Was it shut down? Was he silenced? And just when the buzz started dying down, another voice entered the chat, this time from someone nobody expected, Lil Durk. Durk posted a cryptic tweet. "You can't build your kingdom on top of the same soil you abandoned." He didn't name names, didn't say Chief Keef. But everyone knew who he meant. Because let's be honest, Durk and Sosa haven't been tight in years. There's always been quiet tension, unspoken beef. And this tweet? It was like a match to gasoline. Fans started digging. Old interviews. Deleted tweets. Behind-the-scenes fallouts. And it all started painting one clear picture. Chief Keef didn't just cancel a concert. He lit a fire under a legacy that's been waiting to explode. O'Block was never just a backdrop for his music. It was the foundation. The soil. The struggle. And when you build something that powerful on a place like that, you better make sure the roots are still solid. Because if they're not, the whole thing might collapse. Durk's cryptic tweet and Chief Keef's legacy starting to crumble under the weight of the same streets that made him a legend. But as the smoke started to rise from the cancelled concert and the fans continued to speculate, a much darker truth began to emerge. Because this wasn't just about music, or pride, or even respect. This was about what Chief Keef left behind, and who never forgave him for it. Let's rewind. Back in 2012, when I Don't Like exploded and Sosa became the face of the Chicago drill scene, it was O'Block that carried him there. Not just spiritually, but literally. There were OGs funding studio time, supplying security, even putting their name on the line to make sure Keef stayed protected during his come-up. But when Chief Keef took off, he left Chicago behind like it was baggage. Now, people close to the situation say it wasn't just about escaping violence. It was about cutting ties before debts came due. "Bro owed people," said one ex-affiliate in a leaked phone call. "Not just money. Loyalty. There were cats who risked it all for him, And when he moved to LA, they ain't hear from him again. He ghosted the whole hood. One of the most vocal OGs from O'Block, who will call big tone to keep things safe, started speaking more openly to certain underground blogs. In a rare audio clip, you hear him say, "We ain't want beef with him. We wanted acknowledgement. We wanted the same energy he gave Hollywood to the people who kept him breathing back then." But instead of outreach, Sosa allegedly responded through silence, and then through disrespect. Back in 2020, an unreleased track allegedly leaked where Keef referenced snakes in the set and deadweight from the block. The track was never officially dropped, but it circulated enough for O'Block insiders to catch the message. "That was the last straw," Big Tone said. "You gone throw dirt and not expect it to come back?" So when Keef announced his 2026 return to the Rack concert, it was seen as a slap in the face. To him, it may have been a triumphant return. But to the OGs? It was like he was trying to dance on a grave he helped dig, one source put it. Behind closed doors, messages were passed. Quiet meetings were held in basements and back corners of local bars. Nobody wanted full-blown war, but they wanted it known. If Sosa's gonna show up in the city, he better show up right. But the biggest plot twist? The warnings didn't just come from the streets. Someone from Chief Keef's own circle, someone who used to walk side by side with him, allegedly tipped off the OGs about his plans. This insider claimed Keef wasn't coming to make peace, but to shoot a music video for a new song called Crownless Kings. The song allegedly throws subliminal shots at multiple Chicago names, including O'Block. Once that info leaked, all hell broke loose. Private DMs started flying. A few Chicago promoters suddenly backed out. Security companies pulled contracts. And on top of that, Chief Keef himself went silent. No more tweets. No IG posts. No TikToks. The man disappeared digitally, and fans started panicking. Yo, is he good? Did they press him that hard? Why Sosa ducking all this heat? Then, 2 days after the original concert date, an anonymous post appeared on Reddit, claiming to be from someone inside Keef's management. Here's what it said. He didn't cancel the show because of fear. He canceled it because the situation was bigger than music. There were threats. There were people moving behind the scenes. It wasn't safe for him or the city. Now remember, Chief Keef has always had enemies. This isn't new. But what makes this situation different is the source of the heat, not rival rappers, not outsiders, but the same place he came from. And then came the Durk angle, because let's be real, when Lil Durk enters the conversation, eyes turn and drama multiplies. Fans started connecting the dots between Durk's tweet and the long-standing tension between him and Sosa. It goes back years. Missed features, unreturned calls, backdoor accusations. Nothing ever spilled out publicly, until now. And here's the tea. According to one Chicago insider, Durk allegedly sat down with some O'Block OGs just 1 week before the concert was scheduled. The meeting was private, respectful, but real. What was said behind those doors? Nobody knows for sure. But after that meeting, Durk unfollowed Chief Keef on all platforms. Fans caught it immediately. Yo, Durk really cut him off. This gotta be deeper than rap. O'Block versus Keef confirmed. One insider claims Durk told the OGs, "I never turned my back on the city. I stayed." He ran. Now whether that's true or not, one thing is clear, Chicago is divided. One half still calls Keef a legend, the man who started it all. The other half calls him a ghost, someone who got rich off the pain of the hood and never looked back. And in between? A storm of secrets that might never come to light. But hold up, because we haven't even gotten to the craziest twist yet. A few days after the canceled show, an old head who used to mentor Sosa during his early years came forward anonymously with a voice memo that blew fans away. In the audio, he says, "There's something y'all don't know. Back in 2011, right before Sosa blew, there was a situation. A dude from the block caught a charge. Could have faced 10 years. He stayed quiet, took the fall. And he thought Keef would take care of him when he got out. He never did. No visits. No letters. No money. That man came home to nothing. And that's when everything started falling apart. You could hear the pain in his voice. It's one thing to leave the hood. It's another to pretend it never existed. That's when fans finally started realizing this wasn't about rap beef. This wasn't about a canceled concert. The energy in Chicago has shifted. The city isn't just mourning a missed concert anymore. It's questioning everything it once believed about Chief Keef, the pioneer of drill, the voice of the streets, the icon who screamed bang bang into a generation's ears. But now, the same streets that once protected him are the ones putting pressure on his name. After the canceled concert, silence swept through Keef's camp. No tweets. No explanations. No statement from his manager. And that silence? It started feeling louder than a diss track. Fans were divided, the city was buzzing, and OGs from O'Block? They were making power moves behind closed doors. According to sources close to the south side, a sit-down was proposed. Not with Sosa directly, but with people from his early circle. A chance to finally lay all the cards on the table. The money, the disrespect, the unspoken beef. But Sosa never responded. Instead, a rumor leaked. Someone inside the industry claimed that Chief Keef was in talks with Netflix to produce a documentary about his life, and that the project would include never-before-told truths about his time in O'Block. You already know what that did. Boom. Blogs went crazy. Twitter lit up. He gonna air them out? Sosa making a doc instead of making peace? If he drops that, it's war. Within 24 hours, an anonymous message was posted on a private drill forum. A warning. You can't rewrite history without consequences. We were there. We remember what really happened. That line hit deep. Because at the core of all this drama isn't just betrayal, it's the battle for the real story. Who gets to tell it? Who gets to profit from it? And who gets left behind? In this case, the people who helped Keef survive the darkest parts of his come-up felt like they were being erased. Rewritten. Rebranded. They weren't invited into the spotlight. They were being cut out of the legacy. Chief Keef might be a legend, said one unnamed O'Block elder. But legends don't forget the hands that pushed them forward. And if all of that wasn't wild enough, the biggest twist came just days later. Footage leaked. A private video clip, shot in what appeared to be a small house on the south side, showed an old friend of Keef's speaking directly to the camera. His face blurred. Voice distorted. But his message? Crystal clear. You'll want to know why Sosa can't come back? It ain't just the OGs. It's the city. It's the truth he ran from. He dipped when it got hot. And when folks paid the price, he ain't say a word. He paused, took a breath, and added, "The show? That was just the excuse. The street's been waiting for this day." Fans were floored. The idea that the cancellation wasn't spontaneous, but calculated, sent shockwaves through the internet. Reddit threads exploded. Drill fans started digging up old connections. Was this all planned? Did Keef know he'd never really perform? Then, another tweet from Lil Durk. This one wasn't cryptic. You built on pain and bounced. Now you want to sell the movie. SMH. That tweet was like a final stamp. A line drawn in concrete. A public confirmation that Durk and Keef's relationship was officially dead. And while some fans hoped it was all just online drama, others knew better. Because behind every social media post, there's a real-world consequence. And this one? It marked the final break. Meanwhile, Keef finally resurfaced, but not with an apology, not with a statement, with a single photo. It showed him standing in a Los Angeles mansion, chain shining, holding a script titled, "From the Mud, the Chief Keef Story." No caption. No tag. That post did numbers. Millions of views. Celebs reposted it. But in Chicago, it was seen as a middle finger. He got what he wanted, said an O'Block affiliate. Fame. Money. His story. But he don't get our respect. Not no more. And now the question remains. Is Chief Keef still the king of Chicago? Or just a ghost in his own city? Because the truth is, legacies aren't just built off bars and beats. They're built off loyalty. And in the end, that might be the one thing Sosa lost chasing everything else. And while the concert might be cancelled, the conversation just getting started. So now that the smoke has cleared, or has it, we're left with one burning question. Did Chief Keef really get banned from his own city? Or did he ban himself by turning his back on the very people who made him a legend? The O'Block OGs feel betrayed. The fans feel confused. And Sosa? Well, he seems more focused on telling his version of the story than fixing the real one. But maybe, just maybe, this wasn't about safety or drama. Maybe it was about consequences finally catching up. About a city that gave its heart to a young artist and watched him take off without ever looking back. The family is left divided. The fans are still arguing. The streets are still whispering. And as the drill scene continues to evolve, the question becomes, who really holds the crown now? So we want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was Chief Keef wrong for leaving the city the way he did? Should O'Block OGs have welcomed him back or stood their ground? Is this the end of the Sosa x Chicago story, or just a pause in the war? Smash that like button if you think this story exposes a real side of the rap game nobody talks about. Hit subscribe for more heated real/fake drama like this. We bring the facts, the fantasy, and the fire. And turn on notifications because next week, we're diving into Lil Durk's quiet war. Is he building his empire or burying old friends along the way?